nothing to back it up, Des. I've just got a gut feeling that this one is going to be a bit closer than we expect. Let's not forget the story of Black Dragons. I'm going to call it a miracle run that they're on at the moment, really. 1 point. 1 point is all they gained in Stage 2. You and I covered a lot of Stage 2.
We did.
And they were not great, Des.
No, they were not.
They were not great. 1 point was all they gained, and then they came out and had this run in last chance qualifiers and just looked like a different team. I'd said up to that point, it kind of felt like two teams, and I'm not saying that, you know, one half was good and one half was bad, but you kind of had Ask and Hornet doing this work and then everybody else doing that work. And in last chance qualifiers, it really seemed to come together for them. They played as a 5 better, the teamwork was better, and it really showed. They even managed to knock out reigning world champions Furia in the final, of course. So they've got it in the tank. Can they deliver it in the server is another question. Our bans come on through for Border. Ying, Blitz, Azami, Valkyrie, nothing too wild there.
No, and very specific bans as well to some level, because where SSG have found a lot of success was with that Blitz. Equally, Black Dragons have too. Nutska's ran it an awful lot throughout the tournament, so I think actually both teams are hurt by that ban, but it does mean you may well see the Monty coming on through. Ying, I think we all know by now, a pretty typical ban, as is the Azami and the Valkyrie. Does open up some opportunities here, and I don't think you really see it on this map admittedly when SSG are on the defense, to see things like Mute and Mozzie coming out. They've really hurt teams this tournament playing Mute and Mozzie. In fact, I believe those two operators, from a quick look, are their two most played operators on the defensive side. They're really leaning into the buff that came through to Mozzie recently and smothering intel away from their opponents when SSG are on the defense. I don't think it's going to be as effective here on Border because of how small and gunfight heavy the map is. You haven't got a lot of ground that you need to cover, so therefore intel blackout isn't quite as effective as it normally would be. But it does mean you can get some fun things like a Doc coming along, Tim. And why wouldn't Ashen start out, no doubt, another very loud series for himself with running the Doc?
See, I love a bit of Doc play. You've got that ability.
You play Doc yourself?
I do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, quite a lot at the minute. Great gun, barbed wire, bailiff for opening up little rotations and lines of sight, ability to heal yourself and others, 3 shots, you know, 3 stim shots. Doc's are, you know, we don't see too much at pro level because it's difficult to say what utility are you going to lose, you know, by not having Doc in. But honestly, I think Doc's a fine pick.
Well, see how fine it proves to be here in this first round. Already they're getting quite aggressive and straight up. Oh no! Thought they'd found Nux there for a second. It would have been the shield taken down immediately. Like I said, with the Blitz ban coming away, I think you're going to see a lot of Monty getting brought out here, especially by Black Dragons. And to lose a Monty off the rip would have been heartbreaking to start this game.
The shields are particularly powerful on Border for creating space. Places like CCTV, places like Office that are difficult to get into, that are going to be heavily defended, you can send your shield on in, just get aggressive, force them out, and that's half the battle for attackers on Border, is getting yourself established. It's a very small map. Once you're in, once you've got that beachhead, attackers will often win rounds from there. It's creating that initial space. So it's, yeah, you're right. We're likely to see the shields almost every single round, I would expect here, in order to just bully out the defenders from those top floor holes. You've got to be able to deal with them, and Benja shows how you do it. Nitro over the top, bada bing, takes him down, and that's advantage SSG.
Another real cute bit of team play there, knowing full well that Monty would have to step back because of the smoke, and he goes straight into the dream line of sight for the C4 and gets a freebie. Benja, of course, then going to collect a second onto Hornet. The Ash was playing out towards that doorway as well. Suddenly, there's only one player left trying to push on towards these E stairs, and now he's been down as well. Benja onto a third. The titan of these E-stairs, nothing more to be said. J9 will get brought down, but at this point the damage has been done, I'm afraid. 2 players left standing and 4 to bring down on the other side in all about 75 seconds. It's a tough and tall order. Oh. I mean,
I was just going to say, Benja had a quiet day yesterday, and today he's woken up and chosen violence. He's decided there will be no more quiet days for Benja. He wants to get through to that main stage. He knows where this last player is. He definitely wants the ace. Is he going to find it? That's the question. He's waiting for the hop out, the left, the right. Which way are they going to go? And he sees the barrel. He's going to hear the hatch drop. Surely no, he's not aware, but it's surely a matter of time until Gutto gets picked up. The only question is...
By Benja, surely. He's going stairs.
The only question is it Benja that picks him up? It looks like it probably will be.
An ace to start things off would be lovely for him. Finds his man too. Starts with an ace in round 1. Really, all that those started off at that very beginning with the smoke and the C4 playing towards the Monty. Otherwise, I feel Nux would have made their life hell. But that really probably sets the pace and the tone for what we expect to see in this defensive first half from SSG. Black Dragons not really being present at all in that first round.
Can we just talk about Fultz throwing the Toxic Babe at Benja at the end of the round there?
Why not?
When he was just about to get his aim.
He's like, no, you can't have it. It's not allowed.
I don't know if that was a call of he's pushing up his stairs, so the Toxic Babe went out as a precautionary measure, or whether it was a little bit of trolling of Benja, who was on for this. I'm not sure.
The lore runs deep when you think about it. Actually, it wasn't Benja back in the day. It was Rampy, actually. The first of a round that you and I cast in Montreal was back in 2020 at SI back then. Rampy walks an ace on Clubhouse to get the whole thing underway.
Against RV.
And then Benja has just started it here, admittedly against Black Dragons and later on in the tournament, but it's a great start to the series for them. Benson Workshop going to be our second sight. Probably going to see more of the same, where SSG will hold upstairs to some degree here. Want to make sure you can contest angles from above, stop the defenders, or the attackers, sorry, being able to just walk straight into sight and get that diffuser down. So it invites the attackers to have to come and clear this top floor first. Although it won't be as heavy a setup on this top floor, you are still going to have a lot of presence up there, which means Black Dragons need to attack the map the same as they did last time around, get these defenders off the top floor, and then worry about an execute later into the round.
They need to be keeping that shield alive. It was a big problem for them last time. It enabled Benja to just, remain in position. It was beautifully done by SSG, don't get me wrong. It was fantastic teamwork, as you said, forcing the shield back out with the Toxic Babe, sending the Nitro in behind him. Absolutely beautiful stuff, but they have to figure that out. The Black Dragons is the reality, and they need to make sure that they're getting themselves in and pressuring those positions. Some sort of confident control of an area of top floor is going to be really important here. They didn't get it last time. They were never really inside of the map. They were playing from the balconies the whole time. And like I said, that's the big question for the attackers here. Can you get inside or not?
You know where he is. Oh, and he's still got a freebie. Ask us from one of them players that's been playing so well for Black Dragons as well, but J9O, as casual as anything, steps out, finds him. You've still got Hornet down, who I imagine will get picked up here. There we go. Down towards the Archives door, but again, just not an ideal start to this round. That's your Deimos offline, which you were looking to pair up with the Lion.
Still trying to work their way in towards Breaker. Said it only a moment ago, they struggled to get inside of the map last time, and it is proving to be exactly the same this time around again. Fultz, Ash and J9O have all fallen back into Fountain for the time being, and joined by Benjamaster as well, all trying to still hold on to this top floor, and Black Dragons right now don't really have an answer to it. Gutto looks to move in a little bit more laterally, but he's going to be taken down by Forrest, who's playing inside of Showers at the minute, just watching for that office window jump in. And right now, Black Dragons, they just can't remove a single piece of this puzzle. SSG, they've come to play today.
Yeah, it's looking real tough for them to find a way into the game, and as you say, SSG just looks so well prepared, very comfortable. So far, really unbothered by what the other side has brought at them. Like this, it's a warden behind a shield. It's a flash that'll do nothing for you. It's 2 kills potentially coming on through. In fact, no, J9O steals 1 away. Benja cursing that he doesn't get to collect any more in the round. But he'll find the last, and it's a flawless round. So we've had an ace, and we've had a flawless round. I think attack timeout early on might be the play.
I'm wondering, is it going to be one of those games whereby you've got teams just running away with their own maps? SSG have picked Border.
And there it is.
And they're absolutely dominating on it. Black Dragons have picked Sky, which
they won't dominate.
Isn't
they picked it. SSG starting defense. It's going to be a 5-1 half.
I'm really trying to find something from Des after those first couple of rounds. SSG don't play it too often. A little bit of a surprise for them, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, at the minute, SSG are just head and shoulders above. It's very much a mirror, very much the same as what we saw in that first game with Virtus Pro. Just so confident, taking every single fight that's offered to them, and right now Black Dragons have just been absolutely nowhere near sides.
I just love how Ashen has used this tack timeout not to have a chat with anyone, but just to talk shit towards Black Dragons the whole time. He's calling them bad in Portuguese, he's asking ask where he is, just laying it on thick. So while they're trying to really compose and get their heads together, he's trying to break it apart again. Great.
It's just about winning every single second in the server, isn't it, really?
It's mental warfare as well as siege warfare, it is, yes.
It's just, if you're not in the action phase and you can't win the round inside of the server, then try and win it elsewhere and just give yourself every small advantage that you can gain. But yeah, right now, SSG are looking phenomenal over those first 2 rounds. Only 1 kill out of a possible 10 for Black Dragons. It was Ask who managed to pick somebody up in the first round. nobody has been able to do anything else so far. So we move to our third site. It's going to be Bathroom and Tellers. It's going to be much the same as we saw from the previous hold. It's going to be about holding on to Office, Fountain, Archives. Just try and keep hold of as much of that area for as long as possible if you're SSG.
I feel like I'm really being tested today, Tim.
You're being pushed by the... I assume you're not talking about the quality of the siege, Des.
Oh, well, I am, 100%. Because...
I thought you might be.
Between the games, I went out to the green room and... you won't mind me saying it. Stokes was like, you're going to be more negative, Des. I was just like, what do you mean? He's just like, nothing really. I was like, well, yeah, we were kind of criticising Cheese quite a bit in the last game. I'll give him that. He weren't saying it to be horrible. He was having a bit of fun. And I was like, yeah, no. And I thought, you know what, I'll come into this game and I'm gonna really back Black Dragons here. They're a team that, you know, with Cass, 1 point, they've really battled their way through. They're here on elimination day. They can do this, I'm sure. And the first 2 rounds of those car crash first 2 rounds on being tested. Ask at least has answered the question that Ashen was asking. Where are you? Turns out a front door taking your skull clean off your shoulders. Goodvins finally get the 2nd kill of the game. And it's a good start to the 3rd round.
As always, Des, we are desperate to cheer these teams on. We are desperate to see fantastic siege. And
I don't come into a game wanting to talk shit about people. No, I want to see them do well.
But this is it, and it's difficult when, you know, the mistakes
when they're not.
Evident. But Black Dragons, hopefully, this could be it. This will be the catalyst, the spark in the powder keg that will fire them up into a bit of better action. Hornet has managed to get himself inside a CCTV, but he's going to take an awful lot of damage there. J9O does take a little bit in response as well. So Black Dragons still not really managing to press this man advantage up on the top floor at the moment. However, Gutto does manage to take down J9O as I think he tries to rotate away from that fight, and Black Dragons a little bit of an opportunity starting to develop now.
Starting to ball, but just like that, Benja's undone all their hard work. 2 kills, completely unchecked, not caught on a drone, and looking for the 3rd. Off towards your right, Benja. Benja, please spin. Gets taken down at the very least. Nux has found his man, and now they're into a 3 versus 1. How the hell has a clash gone down here? That is not ideal for them, but it's great for Gutto, who walks a 3K in the round and gets them over the line. Okay.
Ghost is returning fire over to Ashen at that point.
I love it. I mean, I think what he also realises there is his players are probably a little bit flat after that start. It's been a bit slow. That's why they had the early, post-2nd round tack timeout. You don't get a tack timeout after 2 rounds unless it's a literal car crash. That's why he steps in so soon. And just injecting a little bit of energy, like, come on, boys, we've got this. Let's go. You're so good. It can be enough to get them fired up now. And hopefully, they carry on firing. Border's one of those maps. In fact, I put some stats out about it yesterday, about the defensive win rate. Border is our most attack-leaning map. Shock horror at the whole event. You've got to see Black Dragons having a good half here. I really want to, at some point, just get a Brazilian coach who can be my personal life hype man. Like, if I don't ever feel like getting out of bed in the morning or something, I'm just there like, oh, I really can't bother today. And some guy comes in, Vamos! You'd just be like, whoa, I'm up, let's go. Your day would start then, wouldn't it? With a heart attack, no less, but wow.
I don't know how well it'd start. I'd be in a constant state of being on edge.
A perpetual state of anxiety. Yep, for sure, but your day would move.
Oh, dear me. Right, back to the top floor we go then. It's going to be Armory and Archives again for SSG. A better round from Black Dragons. We won't quite overlook the little bit of a mistake at main door. I think there was a little bit of a lack of intel there. Benja was able to slip in and get a double, including Ask, who was just coming herring out of Archives. He was at full sprint and could do nothing about the challenge that he found. He had absolutely no idea that Benja was stood at bottom metal. But from there, it was a better round from Black Dragons. They were able to get aggressive onto SSG, deal with a clash, force them out of position, and it was good stuff from them. They didn't really necessarily have top floor control completely, and they still got the job done without it. So good stuff, and we will see if they can continue it in round 4.
Nice little poke here as well with the Ossa being set up. Of course, I've got to be mindful of any, well, all the C4s in back pocket here. 2 of them to play behind is the main thing you're being fearful of. All about that control below as well, making sure no one's lurking around downstairs, looking to be disruptive, and which we can't currently see, which is a good thing. This means everything else, you'll be careful about the ones coming from, say, half wall. Look at this underneath here, I tell you what. Floro's about to get a 2nd as well after finding Ashen, but he's also getting return fire back his way. Not going to lose his life or any HP, though. Good start to the round.
Forrest and J9O have both taken...
Go fishing again, go again.
They've both taken chip damage along the way, so SSG definitely on the back foot a little bit here. Tubarão gone is just going to open up a few options potentially for Black Dragons and is going to give them more time, importantly. They're not going to be, or shouldn't be at least, racing around at the end of this one. Grim Bees will come on in, start forcing them players back, and they're in a position here to put a diffuser down after an absolute beauty from Nux behind the Talon shield. Wonderful stuff, secures the plant. SSG are all at sea in round 4.
Yeah, C4s were just not ready to fly there. The Grimbees keeping the Kaid at bay. And look at this. Black Dragons really have woken up. A 4v1 to close things out. And Fultz, well, he's not got a dog's chance in hell at this point. Hornet with the close, and Ghost is going again.
Deixa o fronteira open, caralho! Horríveis do caralho! Porra! Deixa open, caralho!
I'm not sure SSG are going to understand, but I think they'll get the tone.
Stop drinking caffeine, bro. You've got enough. Jesus. It just keeps going. I love how the players are just so
If
chill.
this goes to 3 maps, Ghost is going to be exhausted by the end of it.
He is.
It's going to be absolutely...
But he also knows what it means, because I spoke to him before the tournament, and he was like, you know, we're very aware we got 1 point, and like our transformation's been really good, and we're just so excited now that we can go on and prove something real special here. It's a dream storyline given how well so many other teams are playing, but imagine if Black Dragons were to make it to a final or something crazy. Oh.
Forget the final. Imagine if Black Dragons are able to get the win here and get to main stage, Des. I'd have to go back through, but I'm not sure anybody's ever got 1 point in a stage and then got to the main stage for that major. Like, that is absolutely an unreal turnaround. And if you remember, Des, I said coming into this, when we saw them struggling, it often felt like you had these 2 teams. You had Ask and Hornet, and then you had everybody else. So far today, over those last couple of rounds, Gutto, Nux, both getting involved, both having really big parts of those plays. Florio underneath, chasing people out of position. And this is what I mean about them working together as a 5, looking like one complete team and everybody delivering. And Black Dragons have looked completely different in round 3 and 4 than they did in the first 2. They've woken up, they've switched on, and this could be a real matchup ahead of us.
You're talking about the coach, Ghost. I want to talk about the SSG Ghost. They've been disappearing for the last 2 rounds, unfortunately. Tim Benja went off to a flying start with 9 kills in 2 rounds. Haven't secured a single one in the last couple. And it has been a very different tale since that tack timeout. Just goes to show sometimes a coach getting you a little bit more amped up. Having a few words after a couple of rounds and they haven't gone according to plan really can turn your fortunes around. And Forrest is certainly trying to make something happen on the Bandit. Everyone out clearly wasn't quite the one to make happen, nor is it going to stick. Finds himself down already.
Yeah, Black Dragons having that one on lock, making sure that they weren't getting caught out. They've not really got themselves too much control inside of the map, which is going to be the next one, and just start maybe using those verticals. But for the time being, it's potentially just going to be Monty straight in through the window. SSG are still above, but Ask manages to find J90. Ask finds another before being shut down. 4v2. They can't prevent the plant. The smoke covered it beautifully. Benja does find one. Ashen was too late to the punch. It's now a 3v2. Diffuser down with a Monty. This should be a Black Dragons round all day long.
Absolutely phenomenal. The 2 players, the Amaro coming up to the hatch, and then also you've got the West Wall being pushed at the same time. 2 kills come out of, I'd say nowhere, but they clearly weren't nowhere. There were 2 brilliant kills that came flying on through, and there's no response that SSG can make because they've now lost top floor. Plant's gone down. They just cannot retake this. It's almost like an unofficial timeout for themselves, I imagine, here. Let this round tick down a little bit. In fact, they're trying to make a play, but we know how this one ends.
Esse porra, esse caralho! Porra! Eu tô falando, caralho! Tem que confiar, porra! Caralho!
It's even at his own guys. I love it.
You know what I love? It's like so many of these moments are just like meme moments where the players sat there drinking coffee as calm as anything, and you got a guy screaming at you.
Smacking you on the back.
That is like 100% a meme template ready to be made somewhere. That is class.
Black Dragons then 3 rounds in a row, and that one was a textbook attack, really. Excellent stuff, like you say, just forcing SSG only away from as much as they needed to.
Yeah.
They weren't worried about getting the whole of top floor. They weren't worried about getting all the kills. They know when it's a ventilation site, all they need to do is clear out half wall, and they can potentially be looking at getting a plant down inside of the smoke on ventilation door, because there's nowhere else it can be challenged from. It was really good from them.
It was more the combination of everything coming together at once.
Yeah.
Like the monster
just efficiency of effort.
Smoke's going down, Ass being on that West main. You have one coming in from Archives as well. There was like 3 or 4 things all happening at once. And for SSG, I think naturally we all have this in ranked. You hear Amaru, first thing you do is drop your pants and go, oh my God, where the hell is she? What hatch is she? What window is she in? Where am I getting pushed from? That's all good if that's the only thing happening, but there's 2 or 3 other things going on at the same time. Comms become chaos, players end up looking the wrong way, and you pay the price for it. Fantastic round, and Black Dragons, 3 in a row. This is the kind of performance we were hoping to see. And now SSG, we move over to that comp I was speaking about earlier, Tim. That Mute and Mozzie, the 2 most played operators for this team at the Major. They have really oppressed information from so many teams so far using this. I'm glad to see them finally bringing it out.
Detention's going to be getting opened early on. That'll just provide a little bit of potential lateral pressure. Phantom, if nothing else. It'll just mean that SSG need to be aware of the potential for the entry coming on in through there. But really feel like SSG need to be picking up this round and getting the 3-3 at least. Black Dragons finding some serious momentum over the last couple. Ashen is going to be charged with holding on to this top floor. Pressure mounting already as the book is going to open the barricade. Surely this is one for Ashen. If he peeks his head around, Ashen is prepped, waiting and ready, but no, he's gonna get caught out by Guto, who manages to find a second onto J9. Oh, he's just walked in and taken what he wanted.
Team play. Identifying where Ashen was and pinching it. It doesn't matter about the Mute and Mozzie denying intel away. They've just managed to make a really good push there, and I love the patience coming out of the book as well. Full credit to Ass there. Didn't get egotistical about it and want to put Ashen in a grave. He wanted to instead wait for his teammates to join him and then make it a 2 versus 1. And fair play to Guto. Then spinning and winning the second one onto the player out towards Fountain. That gives them all the control they need up here on this top floor. Just got to be mindful now. Benja downstairs with the C4 in hand. Quite deadly with these explosives. Historically, the best nade player we had, and now it turns out also a fantastic C4 player as well. Gets Guto gone after his 2 kills that started the round.
SSG do try to fight back, but they get caught out with Forest inside a break. Kills in a matter of minutes. Hornet for a double. Nuts for the last one. And another good round from Black Dragons. SSG just getting caught out, like you said, on that top floor. Guto able to walk in. Ask makes a lot of noise over here, while Guto walks in over there and gets himself 2. Great stuff. And SSG certainly a little bit quieter at the minute, Des.
It's just every single time we cut to the cams and it's Florio sat there just sipping a cup of coffee and goes is over like ready to basically grab him and suplex him onto the ground. And he's just like, bro, chill, I've got a coffee, please, please. But whatever he's doing, it's working. They've won 4 rounds in a row after what can only be described as a car crash start to the game. Does feel like, Tim, that this one's going to be, I think it's fair to say, a bit more competitive than our last.
You got to remember what's at stake here. The winner goes through to the main stage, the loser goes home. All of the games today are for, as we like to say, all of the marbles. It is winner takes all, and right now Black Dragons are taking all 4 rounds in a row. They find themselves 4-2 up, moving on to the defense, and we come to that age-old question now. Can they keep the attackers, SSG in this case, out of the building? It's something that SSG have struggled with a little bit more over the last few rounds. Black Dragons have played around it very well, just going direct to site, for example, not really worrying about getting everywhere under control on the map. Will SSG go with a similar technique, or will they be looking to secure those spots? They haven't got a shield on side, which, as I said, can be great for creating space on border, for bullying your way into these difficult spots like CCTV. So keep an eye on the first half of the round. How do SSG go when it comes to gaining map control?
I guess the thing is for SSG, they're massively blitz players, and obviously with the blitz being banned away, I don't think you'll see too much shield play coming out of them. It's not they don't play it or wouldn't play it. It's just that here, that's not been their go-to shield operator. So I think you might see them try and stick things with more like the Deimos, maybe see a Dokkaebi coming out at some point as well. Things in that sort of ilk and that sort of vein. I'm looking at this like defensive lineup coming out of Black Dragons. It is very VP in look, isn't it? Almost like a carbon cut copy of what you saw from the majority of VP in that last series we just had. So it is a little bit more dug back. It is quite defensive. As you can see, it gives SSG a lot of problems to have to work through and stops them playing at the sort of breakneck speed that sometimes they employ to catch teams off guard.
For the time being, Black Dragons, at least for the first minute, still reasonably comfortable in their positions. The Deimos tracks are going to start raining on through. It's, again, a good choice potentially to clear them out, and a missed opportunity from Florio there. Misses a few shots that is just going to leave Forest on the board. Only 22 HP now, but can still continue in the round so long as he can keep himself alive and not get hunted down any further. The first kill did come in, and it did go to Black Dragons once once again. 5 versus 4. Ashen off the board, and it's that Capitao Des. Big loss of utility potentially that you'd be looking towards that execute or clear in space.
I like it though, because the immediate response from Benji was to get underneath this soft flooring and stop this kind of disruption going on, which should free up the players trying to work on East Airs to step forward a little bit easier here to actually get that wall opened up that they were looking for that was being contested. Is the Ash Talmers not being able to do what they were there for. Still though, we're down to the last 60 seconds and SSG is still trying to get themselves set up, and that feels weird to say on a map like Border, Tim. It's not like there's millions of hurdles to jump over.
No, SSG still aren't in the map on the top floor. They've only been able to play inside of customs. They've still got the castle playing above. He is going to be tracked now, and they're trying to chase Gutto down, but it's just not really doing the job.
It chased him off though, and he got caught in a line of fire there as well, so it immediately shut down. Ass now taken out by Fultz. Look at the HP bars on Black Dragons. They are starting to hurt here. Hornet's gone down as well. They see one more in, and J90 has taken this round by the horns. Will drive it over the finish line. It's a 3 versus 1. Nuts with it all to do, and I don't think they're going to give him any room to do that, Tim.
No, unlikely. Plant goes down.
Nice.
Hooks it's an absolute beauty onto J90. 1v4 becomes 1v2. Thinks about the Nitro. Knows there's one behind Bomb Chassis, but he's unlikely to get this one now as they know exactly where he is. Fultz moves in on the flank, takes him down, and that's a nice final 40 seconds from SSG. I said they were struggling to get on into the map on the top floor. They'd been working from underneath for a while, but as you say, when they forced Gutto out of position and got that kill, it was the real catalyst for them. Straight into sight, no messing about. SSG getting aggro on the attack, and that puts them now 3-4 on the scoreboard, and it at least halts that little bit of a runaway train of momentum that Black Dragons had running.
That's it. I think the Capitao being brought along by Ashen now is a nice idea as well. Like, I love Capitao as an operator. I speak about it all the time. So I think he just brings so much, being a 3-speed, decent gun, gone 6 secondary. Obviously had the ability to bring hard breach gadgets, you've got fire, you've got smoke. There is just so much packed into one operator there. He can nearly do everything himself. It's only really soft destruction where he'll struggle to be able to move through the map. But if that's your only weakness, you'll take it. It's a shame that he went down so early on, because I think that was going to be a big part of their execute. Not that ultimately they needed it, as a lot of the work was done out and about around the map with Black Dragon's extension out towards security, being hard punished by the verticals being opened up and the use of the Deimos. So good stuff from SSG. That vertical play really coming into effect for them.
Round 8, it's going to be then. Black Dragons are going to be, I won't say desperate, they're going to be very keen to get themselves a defensive round as soon as possible. They don't want to feel like SSG are getting that run back at them. It's going to be up on the top floor once again. I'd like to see Black Dragons maybe with a more confident plan for the bottom floor. Last time Florio was down there, he managed to damage the Deimos. If he gets that kill, maybe things go a little bit differently. Who knows? This time, it's going to be the responsibility of Ask down there. He's on the vigil with the Bosch G. He's going to be trying to keep those players out and make sure that they can hold on to CCTV. But I don't think that's going to be the game plan for SSG here. They don't have a lot of that vertical destruction this time, so it's just a bit of an interesting counterplay that we've got. It looks like Benja's going to be going in looking for the vigil to begin with. If they can get that kill, fantastic, but it's not essential really for them, and Ask has actually rotated himself back upstairs, I think recognising that there's not going to be too much pressure from the bottom floor. This is Archives written all over it. Benja's going into Workshop to make sure they're not playing underneath, and they're just going to get a plant down behind a Talon shield.
Can't see anything for now, but of course, I mentioned the Capitao is coming out here a little bit to help out with it. EMP also, so any C4s will not be able to catch it out. There's nothing to stop this going through. I was about to say almost nothing to stop it going through. 2 kills actually come their way off the back of it as well. SSG look very composed here. Florio might find one, but I think, Tim, at this point, we can see how this round's playing. Yeah,
I'd be very surprised if they managed to actively disable that diffuser down behind the Talon shield. It's not going to be an easy job whatsoever, given the position. They've managed to plant it right on the door. They've got out, they're holding the post plant. Really, just really basic stuff from SSG, but just fantastically well done. We see a couple of nice kills coming in at the end, but it's effectively a 1v3. Gutto's going to try to just tickle the diffuser there, but there's absolutely nothing he can do in reality. Like I said, it's absolute basics of an Archives attack. You make sure that it's clear underneath so that nobody's going to challenge you with a Nitro or shooting through the floor. As soon as you know you've got to hold a Workshop and there's nobody that can challenge from that area, you can just start then wandering in and getting yourself that diffuser down. It really was as easy as that. Hold it from Archives window so that nobody can swing around the desk. Job done, and SSG knew that. Black Dragons were not prepared for it, and it's a nice, easy attack. 4-4.
The sad thing is, those first 2 rounds where Black Dragons were really not at the races may be what determines how this map ends too. SSG have started out their first 2 attacks looking very comfortable. Black Dragons not really able to fight their way into, although the score at the top of the screen says 4-4 and you'd assume all things are even. It's quite clear to see that attackers really are having the run of things here. Outside of those 2 rounds that Black Dragons, didn't show up for, it has been all attack to this point, and you'd be remiss to think it was going to change any other way. Essentially, Monty coming online here as well for Forest to start the march on through the map. On the other side, Black Dragons, it's kind of hard to say what to do, where they tried to get aggressive around the map, they've been punished for it, as we saw in the extension in the prior round, back in round 7. In their previous round, they've been a bit more dug in towards site. Even then, they've been hard shut out by the utility dump coming out from SSG. So far, the North American side, they've got all the answers, Tim.
Little bit of a stronger hold on to Office, particularly. We've got the mirror window in there that's going to be played around Sandwich just to try and prevent any pressure coming from 90 corridor. They're also looking to expend a lot of utility, keeping it so that it's difficult to get into archives as well. If SSG can break this top floor hold, then the round is almost certainly going to be done for Black Dragons, because it will pull them apart. There's not too much utility left available for sight, given everything they've invested in that top floor. And for the time being, SSG are looking to get into the opposite side of things, get into break, get into CCTV, and work across from there. They need to be aware, though, that Gutto is currently playing inside of there on the Mozzie. This drone should find him.
Yeah, at least being somewhat diligent about this as well, because don't forget, Benja nailed that ace in the first round off the back of this kind of play, just dancing around break room, going in towards waiting area, and just collecting kills for free. Like, it was a real problem that Black Dragons struggled to deal with. So SSG, at least I'll say, showing that respect towards Black Dragons and saying, like, if anyone is there, we need to know about it. We need to not be getting caught out in the early rounds. So far, the entry into the map looking pretty comfortable for them.
SSG, smart play there. Knowing that Gutto was in CCTV, they have deployed a smoke onto the wall that they wanted to breach with the ace charge, of course, making it more difficult for him to see and do anything with that. Benja has managed to walk his way into Workshop here. I'm not sure if he's aware exactly where the player is. It'll be, I think, Nux on the... Nux just on the far side of that reinforcement, but Genano is going to be the one to take him out. Benja was there if he moved the other way. So a nice little pinch from SSG, gets them an opener, 5 versus 4, and now there's going to be a lot of pressure mounting on this top floor, and it's too easy for Benja. He's inside a site, he's got himself 2.
And that's all you really need. Like that, there is no one on site anymore, so Black Dragons, assuming they can clear top floor, need to do a retake. They've killed 3, Tim, what? 2 left at this point, almost Hornet potentially finding onto a 4th as well, but no. Ashen and J9O holding on for now. They're the ones who have got the lion's share of control of the map as well. It's just Hornet.
SSG don't have the diffuser in hand at the minute, I don't believe, so they have got a little bit of work to do. Hornet here with 40 seconds left to go is in a position that, whilst not easy, is potentially winnable.
No.
They've given him a 1v1 and they've given him both deaths without barely moving his feet. Hornet goes right, goes left, picks them both up, and that's terrible timing from SSG.
Oh, just when it looked like it was going so right, it all went so wrong. Benja cleared outside. They had a couple left on top floor and thought, great, 4v2, we can't be giving this away. And then one of the 2 men of the moment, as the case has been throughout this whole tournament, Ask and Hornet have been their 2 big players, and thankfully one of the 2 was there to bring out a big clutch. Bit of a saving grace for Black Dragons, it feels, because this half so far has been all SSG, but that's one of the crucial 2 rounds that Black Dragons need to at least guarantee we get to overtime.
SSG got caught out having a look around, essentially. They were 2 separate from each other. They obviously didn't know where Hornet was. They didn't have the intel, and so they're kind of just wandering around looking for him. But if you're gonna do that, you've got to do it as a pair. You've got 40 seconds left. You've got to be able to challenge together, to be able to impact on the other one's death. We talk about trades so often. The absolute dream for somebody in a 1vx situation like that is to be given those fights one at once. You don't want to find yourself in a lose-lose whereby you're getting challenged from 2 separate sides at once and you can't possibly win. And Hornet, everything was set up for him to knock it out of the park, and he just stepped up and smashed that one into the stands. 5-4 now, Black Dragons, and they are keeping SSG on their toes here on Border.
Black Dragons are one of these teams where they're a little bit of a Vigil merchant team. Not too many teams run Vigil because, as we always say, he's quite a selfish operator. His gadget doesn't really help his team in any way. There's not a lot that he can really do to assist his team during setup either, outside of a couple of impacts he can make use of. But I think across stage 2 in this major so far, they've played Vigil about 27 times between them, this whole team. No real surprise to who the main two players may well be, of course. Again, the players that I spoke about earlier in Ask and Hornet. But Boss G, I always think it's filthy. I'm pretty sure Ask walked to 4K at one point and I was there in tears by the end of the round. It's just so disgusting to watch. Hasn't yet managed to find anyone in the round, but almost found out himself. It's one thing he's got to be very careful of.
Droning will continue for SSG for the time being. Benja is inside of the building at the moment. Just a little bit of utility taken out there as we are attacking onto that top floor. Benja on the book. We've seen the power that he can bring. How about that? No! Jin, I know, gets sat down by Hornet.
That is horrific. Oh. He's hitting some shots today, Tim. That's all that can really be said. Up to 10 and 5, he now steps, and SSG, compared to last round where they managed to get a pretty quick and efficient control of this top floor, are really struggling to even get inside a CC at this point. It's looking like a bit of a battle. Have got these two vertical players again in the Deimos and the Buck on side, though. Forest and Benja taking up those responsibilities. They've managed to punish Roamers on the Black Dragon side doing this before, but this time around they've tightened up a little bit and are really giving nothing over to the North American side.
No, exactly that. SSG just sitting back at this point and looking to find that little bit of extra intel before going in for any final push onto site. They do at least have Ask and Hornet both on very low HP. They can't take any damage whatsoever without it being the end of the round for them. So that's something for SSG. 55 seconds left to go and they're looking to make a little bit of progress moving forward here, having to take out some utility, but by the sounds of it, it's going to be looking for a push from the office side to try and get in towards Archives. They find the man inside a fountain. Benja looks to push forward, sends the flash over the top, just trying to work in behind that utility, but he's there again, Des. Hornet stinging faults, and 5 versus 3 now for Black Dragons.
I was about to say, he should not be able to find this kill on the window, but no, Ashen picks him off. Not that it matters too much, because elsewhere, kills have flown on through, but Benja is a man on a mission. 15 up to 16, surely he finds it. A 2 versus 1, him and Ashen to face off against Florio. Got to hold this longer angle, but the plant now going down means that is moot. Out comes the impact. It will do 40 damage, but Benja is a man on a mission today.
Hey, don't choke it, ass! You fucking pencil neck!
Não tem sentido você dar a cara nesse nível 2, é todo mundo. Por favor, velho. Mano, só faz isso, velho.
He comes out with some insults, doesn't he?
Coming into round 11, then the temperature in this one is obviously heating up between these two. It's honestly, I came into this one saying I was expecting a close game, saying that it might be, you know, one that actually goes the distance, and what a performance we're seeing from both of these two teams at the minute. They are both throwing absolutely everything at this one. Both having huge moments. That was a really nice turnaround from SSG there. Hornet gets some great kills to kick things off. It's 3 versus 5, but they're able to get themselves back into it. SSG's showing something that is so important for teams at this level, which is resilience, which is when the chips are down, are you able to fight back into it? And SSG show repeatedly that they can do. It's 5-5. We're going to get at least all 12 days, and I think there's a few more twists in this tale before we have a winner.
I'm glad you've held it together 30 seconds there, Tim. I've only just stopped laughing. We keep saying it, it's the mental warfare as well as the in-game warfare that's just... It's unique to Ashen. It's probably the only way I can describe it. But it brings a lot of entertainment and joy, so please keep it up, good sir. I'm enjoying this. Onwards we step then. As you said, it will guarantee we see at least all 12 rounds playing out here. And now there is another player on Black Dragons. Hornet probably feels like, you know what, boys, I've hit some shots there. I think it's my turn with the Boss G. They're passing it around between them. Everyone gets a little go in the half. We'll see if he can do anything more with it, because we sadly haven't seen the pop-off Boss G like I think some of us have been terrorised by in ranked at different times throughout the years of playing Siege. I know at least one's tucked in towards the left here as well. It is the Castle of Guto. Don't think they have a way to figure him out, but a bit of breakneck speed, they might be able to punish him here if he stays tight too long. Yeah,
Benja desperately wants that kill, and it's no surprise. 17 and 6, he's just absolutely farming them at the minute, and to be honest, he's been the saviour of SSG a few times in these rounds by getting them. Benja will get another, however, you asked if we'd see a Boss G. Yes, we will. Hornet there for the immediate trade, takes down Benja, and that's going to be the Nomad. I don't know whether those air jabs have been deployed everywhere they wanted them, but that could be a big loss. When they're attacking onto that bottom floor site, you want to be locking down those staircases, making sure that you can't get flanked. That might not be the case anymore.
No, he died with all 3 air jabs in his back pocket, so they're not going to be available to the team to make use of, unfortunately, which does invite things like this. Hornet to get a little bit cheeky moving around. They know where he is, and he's not going to find the shot, though. Forest on East Stairs, right time, right place, and gets the trade back, again, albeit a little bit delayed.
I don't feel like Hornet needed to get aggressive in that position there. He's maybe just feeling himself a little bit. He's got a few kills over the last round. I'm going to go and get him. But really, you could have burnt a little bit more time up on the top floor. Just keep yourself inside of CCTV. Keep yourself back across there. Yes, the pressure's maybe going to come because you've got the verticals onto site. You can do a lot more potentially by keeping yourself alive. But 1 minute left to go.
Pro.
SSG are starting to apply the pressure in towards site now, using those verticals that I spoke about that Hornet kind of gave up a little bit.
I hate how he's just stood over the vertical reloading there, like exposing himself to a headshot from below. Fortunately, wasn't taken down, but certainly wasn't far away from it. He has also just stepped over one of the wee-woos. Now got himself in a spot where they know exactly where he is. Fox alarm's going up. C4 upwards, of course, not going to find him. He's on the other side of the wall. But for now, scaring him away. Forrest dropping down, back on drones, like a good old trusted support for the rest of his team.
Drone not really gonna, I was going to say, the time is ticking down. The drone's not really telling them to. It's telling them where people aren't, but not necessarily finding where they are at the minute. Pressure going to come directly then from SSG. Forrest moving in through detention, sends one after another of those flashbangs in to try and create a bit of space to start putting this plant down. J9O with an important double. There is nothing that Nux can do inside of site, and SSG are going to get themselves a map point opportunity.
Good stuff there as well. The alignment of all the util being dumped into site at the same time meant that it didn't even matter that Forrest saw him on his left as he came running on through. He couldn't see anything. And then it's just about the cover, the backstab push coming in, the player stepping in from Passport, just everything building up on top of itself, and a really well-coordinated execute. 6-5 to SSG and Black Dragons. Can they find that one round in the tank? They've already pulled one back, Tim, to make up for those 2 car crash first rounds they had, but they sorely need a second.
Yeah, you just get a feeling, it feels like that the balance might just have tipped a little bit here, Des. SSG looking very good in that last round, and now knowing that they only need one more. To be fair, Customs is a difficult site to hold on to. I would maybe question the site choice from Black Dragons there, you know, going down to that often unused site when we look at Border to try and get such an important round 1, but this time they're going to be heading back up to Armory and Archives. And we'll see whether they can hold on to the top floor. Just looking at their last defense there, it was in round 10. They were unsuccessful. SSG got the win despite Hornet's big start to the round. So Black Dragons maybe back to the drawing board for this one.
What I enjoy about this site in particular is that you see, I don't say it's always like the same, but they're relatively similar executes, but there's always something fun about them. It's something a little bit different. You see like Glaz and Ying being employed quite a lot. Util dumps in towards site. We see Ossos, we see Monty's used for it. Capitals that we've got in this round. The vertical pressure that can come in from a Buck and a Deimos to move players around upstairs. It just opens a lot of creativity for attackers to think about fun ways of getting things done. Just like this, trying to look up through a hatch and hoping there's someone here on the small office wall, of which there is not. But really here, keep an eye on the Capital of Forrest. He's the one who'll be getting some smokes down, some fire down, and looking to make this plant happen. Benja going to punish Hornet there, trying to work his way down those east stairs, as Benja is now 1 kill of 20 kills on this map.
Yeah, it's a really big part of the defense as well, because what's happened now that Hornet isn't covering east stairs, Aska's had to rotate back into site, so that now gives CCTV and Break over to SSG potentially. Guto is still in there for the time being, but he's going to be in a perilous position realistically, and I would expect to see him getting pressured. But that being said, SSG just waiting for that bit of explosiveness onto sandwich window, and it certainly looks like they prepped him ready to go. Forrest has diffuser in hand. They need to move Ask though.
It's Benja they're trying to get in position as well. Once he's underneath in the right spot, they'll make this move happen, I think, and now that he's got there, they can start pulling the trigger. Fire's going down first, smoke should follow. More like trying to make players to move and catch them out, I think, but so far Black Dragons have given nothing away. Just Ash taking a few points of damage, and he's found Ashen. Ashen was there for the catch underneath, but hasn't managed to pick his man off. A little bit of a car crash missed kill there by the Deimos.
Yeah, not looking as good as it was for SSG. They've had a little bit of space to work with potentially, sort of top east and balcony, and maybe pressuring to Break and CCTV. They've chosen not to take it. Instead, they've moved to focusing now onto the archive site, onto that sandwich window, trying to get anything they can, looking for picks inside of sight, but Black Dragons are giving them absolutely nothing at the minute. Are they aware of Guto? I think they are.
Oh,
yes!
Fultz
is able to take him down. Beautiful reactions.
Snaps straight to the skull and finds his man. He's now been taken down as well, but the plant's going down in a 3 versus 3. Also got some pressure coming in from below from Benja. As long as they let his man go, this one should get stuck, and sure enough it will. 3 versus 2, 3 versus 1. SSG looking to close things up, and Benja, what a map he's turned around to have. 21 kills he finds himself on, and Florio try as he might, you tend not to get these ones retaken.
No, we wouldn't expect it from here. 41 HP, going to swing around, maybe start tickling the diffuser. Will not get the opportunity. The Planter Forest was out on the rappel and does manage to take the last man down. That was a nice turnaround from SSG at the end there. I think they were run a lot closer than many would have expected by Black Dragons, and there was moments even in that last round when Ash took Ashen down, you start thinking maybe Black Dragons hold on to this. But what SSG did really well for me there in that last round was adapt. It was to think, right, that's not quite working. This hasn't gone exactly how we wanted it to. How do we still achieve that same goal? How do we still get into position for that plan? And Fultz getting that kill on the door close to Guto really opened things up for them, because he was able to cut down past half wall and allow Forest in. Really nicely done from SSG.
Black Dragons may have had a Hornet, but SSG had a Benja. He was a man on a mission this game. So many multi-kills scattered throughout the game. Most it wasn't solely his efforts that got it over the line. You can't ignore the fact that it started off with an ace to really get them kicking. And it's a great example here of why those early tap timeouts are important to call. And sometimes you think, oh, why are you wasting it after 2 rounds? Not at all. Black Dragons being off kilter for 2 rounds is ultimately what cost them this game. Otherwise, this probably goes overtime, being honest with you, if not towards the Black Dragons win. Those first 2 rounds, in my opinion, is what's cost them, as well as both teams having, at least except for those first 2 rounds, really good attacking halves here on Border.
Yeah, I think, you know, both teams are going to take a lot away from that first map. It wasn't Black Dragon's choice, it was SSG's choice. They've come out and they've put up a good, you know, they've certainly had a good outing, and they can move away from that towards map 2 with a lot of confidence. And I think Black Dragons are going to be expecting to see 3 out of this one and go to that decider.
Yeah, the next map's an interesting one, with it being Skyscraper. I was a little bit nervous about seeing it get brought up because I couldn't really fathom why. Like, even SSG were a little bit like, I mean, no one's seen us play it for a long time. Like, we don't mind playing it, but we haven't. Therefore, we're okay with this map, Vito. And I think with how it stands after a first map that, yes, was close, but still leaning SSG's way, honestly, I think it could end up as a 2-0 because SSG get to start on the defense on Sky.
The big question for me is, obviously Benja there had a huge impact on that game. If he doesn't come out with all those kills, maybe Black Dragons can get that one done. It's, you know, you're always ifs and buts, and maybe somebody else could have found him. But if they don't have that performance, is everybody else going to step up, or will Black Dragons get that opportunity?
They've got to show something magic on the attack either way, and that is no easy feat going into Skyscraper. However, the teams are having a break. We'll go and do the same. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes.
tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up, I'm a pilot. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
Welcome back to the last day of Phase 2 here at the Montreal Major. If you are just tuning in, welcome. We're in our second best of 3 of the day. There is still one more to come. With how this one's shaken down so far, a slow start on border by Black Dragons ultimately opened the door for SSG to take away a 7-5 win. There'll always be that question of what if they hadn't had those first 2 car crash rounds, Tim. But regardless, that is now behind us. Skyscraper awaits an SSG start on defense, which has me a little bit concerned because I think as many of us know, people hate attacking on this map.
It's tough, you know, it's tough. We look at the top 2 floors, you expect defenders to be winning there, Tea and Karaoke and Office and Exhibition, of course, and then your third site is a little bit of a bonus quite often, so there is a big expectation for a 4-2 half for the defenders, but Black Dragons surprised us in a few rounds last time, Des. Like you say, it was a slow start, and it is these small differences that can cost you a round or 2 here and there, and all of a sudden it's 7-5 SSG. Maybe that could have gone the other way, but SSG, by contrast, they did a good job to close it out. The attack, particularly that they finished on, was very, very polished and well executed, and did a good job for them. So let's get into Skyscraper. Black Dragons versus SSG. First operator bands are coming on in. We've got the Ying, we've got the Blitz. Tick, tick.
Again, against SSG, you need to take the Blitz away. It's one of their most played operators. I've said that during the stage, they played Monty a few times. Here at the Major, they haven't played it once. They have it in the wheelhouse, but won't really lean in towards it. So I think going for the Blitz consistently is a good idea. It almost guarantees that shields won't be a thing in the game until SSG decides, you know what, okay, now it's a Monty ban, which I don't think we're really going to see too much of. Ying, I think, speaks for herself, and the Tuber, a bit of an interesting ban coming in here, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just dying to see the Deimos thing happen.
I just really want to...
I really want to see it again.
I really want to see Tuber out on the roam using the Zoto canister. Azame will be our final one. You know, we've seen, to be fair, we've seen Tuber creeping up a little bit, and I don't think it's, you know, it's primarily it's going to be in relation to
slowing rounds down ultimately.
Yeah, it's slowing your rounds down. It's the breaching. It's, you know, just preventing that progress being made by the attackers, and certainly on an increased banning trend at the minute, but it is, of course, then allowing others through the ban. We're going to be getting on into things. There's round 1. It's Black Dragons, it's SSG. Black Dragons fighting for their very lives inside of the Major at Montreal here. If they lose, they are done. They will be on their way home. SSG, of course, as the winners, would be going through into that final in the venue. But, that being said, SSG have got themselves the grace of a lifeline here. If they don't win it here on Sky, they will get another opportunity on Chalet. They have seriously bought themselves a bit of breathing space.
I know there are some record watchers amongst you, and if you were watching the last map, you'll know Benjamin walked away with 21 kills to his name. Current record in a best of 3 on LAN is 50. That's what he's going to be beating in this series, so keep a close eye on his kills if you do want to follow along. We'll be keeping a close eye on it, assuming, of course, he starts his map the way that he started off the last one, which was an ace, and then a 4K in the second round. Definitely helped to getting towards that total of 21 by map end, and we'll see if he can repeat that performance. As mentioned, with them starting on the defensive side, I do worry a bit for Black Dragons here and how this could play out, and already Benja's taking a bit of a wash in bathroom and looking to be a bit of a rat Tim, waiting for someone to come in through house, and he'll be biting their head off at the first chance he gets.
Yeah, we heard a barricade being knocked over that side as well, so we might get a little bit of joy. We will send feedback should that happen. For time being, the pressure is going to be applied early in the round from Black Dragons onto this exhibition and office side of things. It looks like we're going to see them going in there and trying to clear their way across the top of this map. It's Fultz that's trying to hold them off at the minute. Like you say, very aware of that potential jump out coming from Benja.
I think they know Benja's underneath at this point, which is why you've got 2 players waiting for him to try something a little bit crazy.
You don't need to, though.
I was going to say, you can just sit and play below here and just be a bit of a disruptor inside a house. If you're drawing 2 or 3 players' attention to the other side of the map here, that's a great spot to be in. You haven't got to risk your life for it and die out on this extension, but if you get back to site after drawing in a few drones and wasting a bit of time, that's a wonderful roam.
Yeah, we're halfway through the round and Black Dragons still aren't inside of the map. They've got a majority stacked over on the office side. Nitro goes out. Hornet's going to get away from that one. So a little bit of a coming together, but it's the first we've seen. But again, it just forces Black Dragons to take that backward step. They come together now. Benja does find the kill, will be drawn out a little bit too late, to be honest. Asher manages to find Ask, and this take from Office and Exhibition Des is falling apart before it's even begun. Florio's working over on his own over towards the sort of kitchen and geisha side, but nothing's happening for Black Dragons at the minute.
The painful thing about the fight with Benja there by Hornet is they had him on a drone the whole time. There was another player sat on drones around Benja's feet, no doubt calling out exactly where he is, yellow pins galore, you name it. And yet Hornet still really came in there with a gun down. He made a nice idea to cross to the other side of the display to try and surprise Benja a little bit. But I feel there they've just kind of given away a bit of a freebie despite the amount of team playing investment they've put in. And he could still be on to find another here. Surely.
Almost certainly will do. Drops the diffuser at his feet as well. We've spoken about how Black Dragons can often be like 2 teams, Ask and Hornet, and then everybody else right now.
Say that.
Everybody else needs to step up and start delivering that little bit extra that they showed us through LCQs. And they're doing it, Des. Florio and Nux getting kills and getting them back into this one.
I was going to say, Diffuser was on the other side of the map was the problem. Forget who it was that pushed into Benja there, but Diffuser went down in house while they were hitting site, and I was like, this is not the play that you need. And the worst part is they knew Benja was still out there. That's a massive risk to have the Diffuser in that position, because now you've got 10 seconds to make a push into site happen. Florio finds a 2, and they're about to... No way! 5 kills, Tim. You asked them to step up and make something happen. And Florio and Nusk have done just that.
I've been saying it for the longest time. I've been saying it throughout Stage 2, Des. I said it when we saw them in the LCQs. When, like I said, I'm not saying that it's good players and bad players, that it's Ask and Hornet carrying everything. It's not really the case all of the time. Ask and Hornet put up some good numbers in terms of kills, but we've got lots of teams who have those focal points, and that's absolutely fine. It's when they can function together, when those other 3 can really step up in everything else they need to be doing, whether it be intel, whether it be clutching, whether it be, you know, getting a couple of kills here and there. It makes the difference for Black Dragons, and we've just seen it there. The first 2 to go were Ask and Hornet, and they still get it done. A great round from Florio, finishing off with a double at the end there. Just brilliant stuff, and it shows what this team are capable of, and you feel like it's just a matter of time, and as comfort grows, as confidence grows in each other, they too get stronger and stronger.
Well, it takes a bit of a clutch, but it's one of the 2 attacking rounds you'd argue a team needs on their attacking half of Skyscraper, and they've got 5 rounds to find one more. That is dream territory, even if it did come from the most unlikely of places. And this is a big thing. I think the talent we're talking about is actually in the green room between games, and we're talking about, you know, Ask and Hornet are the 2 players for Black Dragons. It's about who around them can step up, and obviously you've just seen a big round out of Florio and Nux, but I think it's building a little bit as the tournament has gone by, as you're seeing that confidence start to grow, and these players are starting to contribute more. I know overall net, they're still like negative everyone else except for Ask and Hornet, but if this is the point where they start to hit form, Tim, you say it all the time, if this is the part of the tournament where you start to hit form, then that's completely fine.
Most important point of any team winning a tournament is form and when it hits. I also say every team will have a bad game or 2 along the way. There's only really Furia back in Copenhagen that went through without losing a game. That's the outlier. Generally, the teams that have won tournaments have lost a couple along the way, and it's about having those bad days at the right time. and then finding that form when it matters most. We are going to see Florio downed here, and that's the diffuser cold on the ground as well. We'll see whether his teammates are able to rescue him or both. That manages to find another. Ashen's there for the trade. We're going to see the wall opened up from Geisha. That's going to force Ashen away out of position. Needs to drop himself back down into Restaurant, and Black Dragons again doing a good job of chasing SSG away from those positions they want to hold.
I was going to say, surely they could save Florio here. He got sprayed through the softball by Benja, I believe, from backstairs, and that is why he's been sat down now inside a karaoke for the longest amount of time. I don't imagine they're going to abandon on him. Of course, Guto here going to be... I tell you what, if I had to kind of roll a dice and expect that anyone in our stack would come and get me up if I was down, it would be you that I'd expect to do it.
Do you think? Yeah. It's usually me that's getting picked up.
True, but in the case if I was down and you were still
I've usually gone into plant and the cover's been wobbly.
It's classic support blame, that is, isn't it? Cover sucks. I was doing my job.
Not I was doing it too soon, or we weren't ready for it. That can't be
What do you mean? The clash on side is, of course, going to be a big time waster for them here. So last 60 seconds we step into, that's going to be a point of consideration for Black Dragons. Yes, they've got the man advantage, but they will be held at bay here. So that's what they've got to keep a close eye on. Gotten themselves towards the breach. You've got Hornet, who's currently set up here on this side. 2 players still out towards Geisha that need to really get a move on and start pushing in towards Terrace. I feel like they've got enough time to do this in. I'm not really sure why Hornet is trying to take a challenge there. He's the only player anywhere near site. There can be no response to the immediate gunfight or the information that follows, and he's giving his life away there for free.
Ashen's in a tricky position for Black Dragons at the minute as well. He's just potentially getting on the flank. We can see him here moving around. It's going to be a freebie for him. It's just... timing doesn't help him, but he's still going to get it. You better believe it. 3 versus 1, though. There's a couple of kills coming quickly, and that flank might have just been a little bit too late. They know where he is, but Ashen can just play on top of the case. 10 seconds, he's going to run away. No choice but to go for the plant. Ashen won't be able to get back in time.
Can he get him below?
No, I don't think he can.
But he knows exactly where he is. Oh, and he's come off as well.
Get off the plane! Get off the plane! Get off the plane!
Yeah, KD saved there at the end.
That was so close. So Ashen was on that flank, and I was watching him on our top down, and I thought he's going to have a huge impact here. But then all of a sudden, the aggression from Black Dragons, I'm thinking there's a clash there. He's going to be between a rock and a hard place here. But bang, they get 2 kills. And all of a sudden, it's a 1v3 for Ashen, which he's able to win out.
An attack timeout for SSG. I imagine probably call out here soon enough, in the sense of those rounds have been a bit weird.
That was too close.
And so was the prior round in a way. Like, they could have won that round, yet managed to give it away. And that one they almost gave away, despite a brilliant flank coming out. Both rounds now, we've seen the diffuser go down away from sight for Black Dragons. They've had a player caught out, whether it's by Benja on the roam or an Ashen flank here, that they've almost managed to recover from, and in one case did, admittedly without the diffuser. It's been a scrappy start, and I think SSG realised we can't keep on letting rounds go this way when it's our defensive half on this map.
Definitely agree with you. Coming in, we spoke about it, and Skyscraper is one that you would expect to be winning 4 defensive rounds on more often than not. The big one for me is going to come at the point where SSG need to go for a tertiary site. If they win, we'll see which site they go for next. They may choose to just go there for round 3 anyway. They may go back to Karaoke and T. If they decide to go to that 3rd choice site, if they can get that 1, it kind of erases that loss of the first round. It doesn't matter that you lost Karaoke T then, because you've still got your 2-1, and you can move on and you can cycle back through. As it is, they're going to go to Karaoke T, and that's fine. If they can get this 1, you get your 2-1, but what it will do then is force them to that 3rd choice site in the next round, and that's where I say the problem comes in. It's really big, sort of win or lose at that point. If you lose that 3rd choice site, it starts looking then maybe a little bit wobbly to get the 4-2.
Well, you'd expect after a attack timeout like that to now see a bit more composure coming out for the SSG boys, where it's not quite going to be as wobbly. However, Black Dragons are definitely trying to put them to the sword here with this comp tip. This is pretty strong as well. 2 shields on side. Yeah, one's the Oscar, but you'll still take it. The Monty up front. You've also got the Grim helping with the execute and the Deimos on side, and of course some hard breach for good measure. Feels like quite an impressive comp, assuming, of course, they get into the right position. That's the key thing to watch out for here, is how they choose to play it. But this reminds me also of attacking onto that top floor of Border, where we see so many interesting executes around this site. Really keen to see what they bring along.
This lineup screams to me top black stairs.
Yeah.
Get yourself onto top black stairs balcony, get down in restaurant with your Deimos, see if you can find anybody from underneath. They'll put somebody onto karaoke window. I think we've already got the Grim of Florio there, actually, so they're already positioning themselves most of this. You then bully your way into top black stairs with those Orsa shields, with the Monty, and ultimately you're aiming for a plant inside of Karaoke. That is going to be the plan here. Forest is a problem for them at the minute. Playing on the smoke, he's on those black stairs, and he's going to make it as difficult as possible for them to push in, and he's got the perfect tools to do it with those shields. They do spot the Legion. That allows them to get the track. So now Ashen, he's got a choice to make. How hard does he stick this, basically? How hard does he fight it? They need him there to prevent that shield just bullying Smoke out of position. But look at this. Benja able to fight around it, however, does get taken down. Ask managed to find Ashen as well. The round is opening up for Black Dragons. It doesn't matter too much that they've lost the Ossa. This is still doable.
See a little a little teaser from one of the Ubisoft accounts earlier, actually, about in the new season there being some potential shield changes coming, which I'm excited to hear about. Of course, on Sunday, you tend to find we have those reveals, so stay tuned for that one. So the changes coming in are, should be exciting. And hopefully we're not quite in such a shield-dominant meta afterwards. Time will tell on that front. SSG, though, are down 2 players, only the one on the other side of the Ossa being taken offline. A bit of a stinger because, really, Ossa is a big part of this execute. It's why you bring along those shields quite specifically. It's the planting behind them, of course, to be able to feed information to the team. That not being available will hurt a little bit, but they've still got the monster they can make use of. Yeah,
Forest has been forced away, so they've now been able to take stairs. You've still got the Grim waiting on Karaoke Repel. You see in the distance Florio just moving his way up there. They've baited out 2 of those Toxic Babe canisters. 40 seconds left to go. Black Dragons have got almost everything that they need here. They've got the space inside of Karaoke to plant. They've got the cover from the window. They've got the Deimos underneath to make life difficult. This should be doable. They just need to choose exactly when they go for it. Hornet manages to find Fultz. Jane, I know that's big though. He takes the player off Karaoke window. That was an important part of the cover. It might change things up, and instead it looks like Black Dragons are pushing for kills, but they're going to find themselves now in a 1v1. Nux is going to try to throw this one down. Time dictates that he must. J9O moves through, can't quite see him. It's now a dance to the death, and it's going to be J9O. SSG able to clutch that one from the jaws of defeat once again. 2 rounds in a row that Black Dragons are going to be kicking themselves. It opened up, Des. It was all there for them. And then the Nitro onto the Karaoke window player just really changed the trajectory.
I don't think I've seen this before. Attack timeout from round 2 for SSG into attack timeout in round 3 from Black Dragons. I don't think I've ever seen 2 used back-to-back for 1, or, in fact, that's a lie. End of games you do, but after 3 rounds, never. I mean, you can look at...
I think that, you know, a picture tells a story, doesn't it? And ultimately, I think what we're seeing there is Black Dragons knowing that that round should have been theirs.
The last 2 should have been, really.
The last 2 should have been theirs, realistic. You know, okay.
It's mad to think you could be up 3-0.
The fact that Ashen gets the 1v3, you think he was on the flank, he was in a good position to do it, like, okay. But I think there were 4v2 at a point there. They have top black stairs control. They have the player on Karaoke window to prevent anybody cutting across and trying to prevent the plant going down. The Monty kind of ended up in, I think he went down to Shrine window, and I'm looking thinking why? I think they've been baited out by somebody who they thought they could maybe pick up on the flank, and I don't really see that there was much purpose to it. Just get yourself inside a site and start putting that diffuser down, because the more that they delayed, the more they gave the opportunity to SSG to hit them with a Nitro, to fight back and find kills. And then once that player goes off Karaoke window, you've got a position where you can't necessarily cover the plant properly, so they start having to play for kills. And Monty's coming in through Shrine and through T, and the wheels have come off for me a little bit in that attack. I think Black Dragons had it.
That's exactly why there was attack timeout so early on. Again, I don't think I've ever seen 2 being used inside 3 rounds, but J9O's walked to 4K and won the 1 versus 3. And it's quite fair to say. I mean, Ast's reaction, as you say, tells 1,000 words. He needs to step in there, the coach, Ghost, and give them a little bit of a reset, I think. A bit of a mental reset. As we saw back at the start of Border, maybe this team's not quite got that resilience yet from being at too many events, and just as if you need to chalk him anymore, you hit him on the rip like that. Ben just found Ask. Not a great start for Black Dragons.
Yeah, and the big problem is To a degree, you've had SSG on the ropes in 2 rounds, you've failed to find the knockout punch, and now they're back into the fight and they're feeling confident. They've got themselves that lead that they wanted. The third choice site here can kind of go either way, because if they lose it, it's 2-2, but they can still cycle through the 2 top floor sites. So they're going to be fairly confident about potentially getting that 4-2 that they'll be looking for on defense.
Here we go.
As a minimum.
At the minimum. Jackal stepping on through, of course, the trap now coming out. It's going to force this player back. Ashen forced back towards site itself now, joining up with his team, and this little hold around drum. What I love is there are so many layers they've got to work through here as well. Like, you've had to first try and force them away from drum and up towards shrine itself, then they'll have an extra layer to fall back to above site itself around geisha. Then you've got sites itself to worry about as well. That's a lot to cut off in one round where you've already lost one player at the start of things. Like, you're kind of blessed that you've got the Dokkaebi and the Jackal on side, because they should help speed this up, but it's certainly still not going to make it easy for them.
Only going to get the single ping, I think, because, yeah, you get one more come in, and then that is it. So it'll at least give Forest position away on the vigil, but he's gone by now. That's the problem. So they send the drones over. Just going to be looking to see if it's clear. Benja going to be holding off that VIP push up house stairs. Just keeping a tight angle from behind the dragon. He doesn't mind about that phone ringing. He'll let it go. He'll assume that they will know that he's trying to hold that position. Ashen manages to pick up Gutto, and I feel like that last round's hit Black Dragons hard, to be honest with you, Des.
Just as the call comes out as well, that's the biggest stinger that I've been aware. However, 2 kills are swung back. Another one traded, as there was a good little bit of team play coming in here from below for Jaeger stepping in and around. Now it's down to a 1v3. Nux with a lot of work to do here, and given SSG have been the clutch king so far, something tells me you aren't about to see a change of fortunes towards Black Dragons. Nope,
Nux gets aggressive with it, goes straight in, drops the hatch into sight, looking to... He does have diffuser, he's no chance of putting it down realistically. Just going to take out that cam. That's smart, though. Forest tries to retake top floor. Nux aware of it and manages to pick up a beauty on the SMG of all things, but there's your answer. The Solus above makes it super difficult. Ashen finds that final kill, and any hope for Black Dragons of winning the round is extinguished with it. And that's going to be another one for SSG. 3-1 and looking pretty comfortable at the moment. Like I say, Black Dragons were looking at a potential 3-3 split. They were looking at really pushing SSG back on their own map pick, and now, in all honesty, they're going to be clinging on to hopes of a 2-4 half.
What kind of gets me with Black Dragons, and I'm not good enough to be on a team. The one thing that I look at and see here, because
you put yourself down, Des.
Shut up, Tim. We've seen here in cast so many teams, and we've seen them on camera so many times, but the lack of energy, I think, is so apparent. It's like boiling out of the camera. It's weird, like, even Nux then talking was the only one, but the rest look a little bit forlorn. No one's really chatting back and forth. You would never guess this is a series that can lead to you getting onto a live stage on Friday, despite the torrid time that you've had in the stage. It doesn't look like a team that wants to win it.
I think they've taken them 2 rounds really badly. I think they've probably taken them to heart. There was mistakes there. Yes, it was a 3v1, it was a 5v3. You know, they had everything they needed in both of them really to win them, and I think it's been a little bit of a hammer blow to the mentality. I think it's rattled them.
You hear teams talk about this where they'll say, you know, we don't care if we're down 6-0, we still play that next round like it's the first. It's about being able to forget about the last round, because Siege is a game. It's not like other shooters or other esports titles out there, and not all of them, but some of them, where a win in a round or a certain moment can lead to you being ahead the next time around you come together. You'll have more money, more items, depending on the game that you might play. Siege doesn't have that. So each round in itself is very unique and compartmentalized, except for what sites that you get to go to and play. And so it's really important to be able to get over that psychological block of, oh man, we've chalked 2 rounds, like, simply thinking that thought, you're just like, well, now we're already down while the mental communication comes down and everything starts collapsing. And maybe this is a piece for Black Dragons. Yeah, it's been one of their first big events. They've been to a lot of players here enjoying this for the first time. Maybe it's that growth piece they'll have to realize going into their next event. But you know, at this point, boys, you've come so far. Don't let it fall apart now.
The best teams are the ones that can just shrug those rounds off the quickest.
Compartmentalise, yeah.
You know, in reality, like you say, those are the best teams. It is easy to sit here and say, well, we'll just play it 1 round at a time. You know, these guys are pros, they've done it loads of time. But ultimately, you know, we're all human, and it does creep into your brain, it does creep into your thoughts, and it's the ones that can push them aside that do perform the best. So I was going to say,
please don't do it again.
Please don't send it straight in after it.
It's come off now, and they got rid of the frost that on the other side as well. More utility cleared away for them, so at least that start is going well for them. But I always call this kind of the PvE part, where you're worried about clearing away utility and figuring a way into the map and not really worrying about gunfights too much. That's the place that they find themselves in now. it's when the guns start firing that it becomes a problem, because that's where SSG, at least so far this map, have been finding the advantage.
Ashen's on that Solus playing underneath at the moment. It's something that Black Dragons desperately need to be aware of, because of course he will be able to spot out that plant going down anywhere that it is, and he will be able to have an impact on it, provide that information to his team. He knows that he's being hunted down now, but no, he's not. I thought he was. It's going to be so free. He gets beaten to it. J9O manages to find Ass. Nux, though, walks in on Ashen and gets the kill. I'm not sure if that was the play from Ashen. Just getting baited into chasing up those stairs. He would have been more valuable underneath, but he's going to be rescued by his teammates. Forrest and J9O pick up one apiece. Nux, however, yet again, bringing Black Dragons back into this one.
Him and Florio have been the two players really making things happen. Florio's going to say had to win this, but it's simply not going to happen. Another round going the way of SSG, but I look at it again where for Black Dragons throughout this game, it's happened so many times where a player will step in for a single 1v1 swing, and look, sometimes you've got to take those, but when you've got a whole round to play with and decent control at that point, I'd love to see more trade-based play coming on through. That's what SSG have been doing really well throughout these rounds, is always making sure there is a second player. Think about the push, for example, on towards Sushi Bar. There was a player that dropped down from top, and there was also a player coming in below to make sure it was a guaranteed 2v1. They would at least walk away for a 1-for-1 in the worst case scenario. Well, worst case being 0 and 2, but they were at least able to secure a trade, right? I haven't seen too much out of that out of Black Dragons, and I just worry that SSG are much more together as a team, and this is what I spoke about before, Tim. When mental is low and communication is down, these sort of things will start to fall away, and it really does start to have a massive impact on the outcome of rounds.
Final defense then for SSG. As I suggested, once they won that tertiary site, it means that they can just rotate through the top floor again. This could well be a 5-1 half, and honestly, if you're Black Dragons, I think you're walking away from that with a serious disappointment, and they'd be right too, Des. There's at least 2 more rounds that could have been theirs. It could have been 3-3. To walk away 5-1 will be a hammer blow to them in the chase of trying to get through to the venue. Last time around, Black Dragons had a really good start to this attack. They brought along everything they needed to try and get a plant inside of Karaoke via top black stairs. They haven't brought that same lineup this time, and interestingly, SSG have actually reinforced off the rotate into Karaoke this time. They haven't played with it open, so it will make it more difficult if they want to try that shield push up at the top. But saying that, we've got Horner already over the far side, looking to push Office and Exhibition, and he's going to be coming up against Fultz and Ashen when he tries to do so. I think Benja's over there as well, actually. So SSG really stacked up to deal with this Office Exhibition push.
At least well set for now, but it's how long the Monty lives for is a big one, right? Florio and Nux, the players we've been talking about a lot. Ask and Hornet, sadly, have vanished this map, nowhere to be seen, taking on the namesake of their coach, unfortunately. Keeping an eye on the Monty is the key part, though, really seeing where he wants to step in. The Os, if you recall those rounds ago, is the one that was alongside him, got picked off early on, and the Monty unfortunately couldn't win out the 1-versus-1, but did get into a good position. So I like they've kept that, and they've changed around things a little bit, but still kept that was one of the more successful parts of the attack for them.
Nux has now managed to take top black stairs. How well are they going to hold this off? J9O managing to pick up Guto. Ask is there for the trade though. 4-versus-3 Toxic Babes coming out. And it looks like they are going to hold on as the Monty goes down. Diffuser with him. 3-versus-3 now. And Black Dragons, they need to make a move. They need to find some kills. But it is trade for trade all the time. SSG just keeping themselves in the fight. Benja, he's still out over on the far side as well to potentially make his way back in to have an impact on this round, but for the time being, everything has just slowed down while Black Dragons reassess how they can play this 2v2.
You've got Hornet coming up through Geisha to give the cross for them, but I'm just worried at this point that they're going to let too much get away from them. They had really good site control, but have now conceded basically all of it and let SSG fight their way back in. So, I don't know, it's a bit of a weird impasse here, a bit of a stalemate where neither team can really make a move just yet, unless someone's willing to swing and take a massive risk.
Holding Karaoke window
like
isn't necessarily going to help you, because you need to be inside of the map to be able to have an impact on these fights, because otherwise, like that, you've given them 2 2v1s. SSG have been able to challenge together on both of those fights. SSG played that really, really well. Black Dragons, unfortunate to find themselves 5-1 down at the half.
Really unfortunate. There'll be 2 or 3 rounds in that half they'll look at.
It could be 3-3, easily. Could be 3-3.
And that would be a screamer of a storyline to go into the defensive skyscraper.
It's winnable.
And now they're down 5-1. I'm not so sure it will be. All it will take is a little bit of a frantic attack coming out from SSG to catch Black Dragons on the back foot, especially when comms are down and the teams certainly don't look like themselves. And that'll be over and done in 2. I was concerned, as I mentioned at the start, coming into Skyscraper, that I was like, this doesn't really feel like the kind of map that Black Dragons want to step into. Even SSG, Benja in his pre-game interview was a little bit like, I mean, they picked Sky, so okay, we haven't played it in forever. They can't counter-prep us, so fine. They didn't seem too rattled by it. I think it's very clear that Astos, I think he's receiving, and he's definitely not responding well to the mental warfare being waged by SSG. It's definitely got him on the back foot. And again, when you need them most, sadly, the big players aren't stepping up the way they need to be.
We head into the second half of things then. Let's see if we get a slightly... I don't even want to say a different performance out of Black Dragons necessarily. There's been a couple of mistakes on their side, but they've been competitive in a lot of the rounds. And as we've said, they maybe are a little bit unfortunate to, you know, not at least be a 2-4 split and, you know, maybe chasing for a bit of overtime or something. But let's not write them off just yet. There are all things can happen in Siege whilst we continue playing. SSG, how about this though? Benja straight in through bathroom. Going to be looking potentially to challenge underneath. Knows that there's one there. Doesn't quite find Guto, who's playing, I think it was Hornet actually on the Solace that nearly got caught out from the window as well. Somehow he's still alive.
This is what I mean though, SSG's team play, their ability to play as a 2- or 3-man group and isolate players out and either guarantee a trade or get a free kill through pressure has been really good this series. We just haven't really seen too much of that coming out from Black Dragons, and lucky there to be alive, being honest with you. Hornet, like, I know he's in a spot where he wants to try and work some magic on the Solace, but the Deimos on the other side will be a real headache for him to deal with.
Going to be pressuring Geisha as well here, all stacking up over that side at the minute. SSG definitely looking to get control over Karaoke, I think, for the potential of getting Forest in there for a plant on the Monty. You can see the drones are positioned to watch the rotate, and all it's about now is baiting out that utility and forcing Black Dragons away. Forcing them away will come once the Monty starts walking in. They'll know that they have to play a little bit deeper at that point. They've got SSG, J9 is positioned on Karaoke window to try and cut off any rotates as well. So SSG ticking a lot of boxes for what they need on this attack.
Waiting out the smoke here as well. One more left in back pocket for Nux, and once that's done, well, it's then there's free to go and push in. Battle is, unless if he doesn't deploy one down at top Black at this point, he can get pushed from below and from the top, and then you're guaranteed to die. Again, the team play is a thing here. He's quite smart at moving himself really far down. They won't be aware if he's dipped in towards the map or what, so that's a consideration to make. But now the Monty is in, and he's giving this information that they need here. Can the smoke make something happen?
Yeah, that's the concern. How have they not dealt with that? They've relied on the Capitao fire arrows, but once they've burnt off, he's able to just walk back up. Benja was underneath, but didn't manage to get the kill onto the smoke, and that has just absolutely destroyed the tip of the spear for SSG.
There were 3 players hanging around here. Benja inside a barbecue kitchen, 2 players on the window rappel. They should know if he's crossed or not, and they have let Black Dragons get away with murder. Literal murder. 4 players gone, losing none of their own. A much better round from Black Dragons.
Yep, J9's just going to sit on the rappel for the time being, see if he can catch any freebies, and he is going to have a little battle with one up above him, but at this point, 18 seconds left to go, 1v5. We all know which way this is going, and it's going to be a flawless round for Black Dragons. And what a comeback, Des. After a tough first half where, you know, they could be punishing themselves, really, when they're in their own thoughts, thinking about how things have gone wrong in a couple of rounds. They've come back really strong there to shake it off. As I said, resilience is an important factor of teams that are going to go a long way, that are going to be successful. They've shaken it off, they've had a good defense there, and they've really held them at bay. SSG, we've got to ask questions of them. Like you say, that's a big slip up to allow that smoke up Black stairs. You've got somebody who can hold from top. You've got people at bottom. Somehow he survives and just shoots him in the back. If I'm on the Monty, I'm screaming at that point.
That's the exact moment we're on about as well. But what I love is also the support you have from Ask up above, right? Made life so much easier for Nux.
Yep.
Smart to move down in the first place to get away from the Capitao, the respect of, right, we know that this team play Capitao, they've got it on side, we're in danger, and the response was just really, really good. Not a mistake that I expect SSG will make again is the problem. It's still a bit of a mountain for Black Dragons to climb.
Black Dragons setting up a little bit of a hold on the far side as well, so likely expecting a bit of pressure towards Geisha and then the attack building from there. A couple of reinforcements just to help them in their efforts to do that. Mute jammer, so a little bit of utility over there. They should still have plenty to go at for the office and exhibition side. Really, Black Dragons need I would say the next 2. They just need to get that full defensive sweep, get the first 3, and it puts them back in touch. It sends the message to SSG then that even a 6-0 is possible. SSG have already been down that road against Virtus Pro, let's not forget. They had the 5-1 defensive half on Cafe. Virtus Pro ran it back and won 7-5. So there's a bit of a mental element to that as well. If you can start getting aggressive and winning these rounds and putting SSG in that position, maybe they start letting those thoughts creep into their mind. Not again.
Absolutely not, no. Can't be letting this one fall away from you now, because you started so well in that previous round. E1D rings out, no one detected, but Forest looking to bully in his way with the Monty. Also one Drummy, Benji's in a great spot and might get one. No, Florio spins on a dime and finds him first. Big shutdown, and once again SSG are down 2 players here, make that 3. Are we seeing a build back from Black Dragons, Tim? It's a flawless round here in round 8. You'd never guess the players have got the flawless round, don't you think it was Ghost all by himself?
I love the passion, love the passion. Certainly energising his team. Good start for Black Dragons, getting those first 2 defensive rounds. And like I said, it just starts raising those couple of question marks in the mind of the SSG players, especially the nature with which those rounds have been won. This is, for me, Des, we often talk about round 8, round 9, how we find these pivotal rounds around this stage of the game. And for me, this is one of them. Third choice site. Black Dragons, let's look at it in a simple way. If they win both of the primary sites, both times, that gets them 4 rounds. They need a minimum of 5 to take them to overtime. So they're going to have to win a third choice site at least once. If you can get that done now, like I say, you start really piling it onto SSG. They're going to start getting in their heads a little bit about, you know, this is now being run back. They're back within 1. They've got the full rotation. So for me, Black Dragons could potentially win or lose this game right here.
Well, Ask has battled his way back in, and I think for the first time actually into that round, Tim, I saw him speaking this game, which is always a good thing to see, because again, not forgetting, he's had a bit of experience before being on Liquid for a while. Yep. He is the senior player on this team. He's the one who's got that LAN experience, and he's the one that the others would no doubt look to as being a bit of kind of the stable mind for them, being the all reliable, and when he's been off and he's been quiet, that is not going to help these rookies feel any more sure of themselves and more confident in what they're doing, so it's good to see him building back into things a little bit. Round 9, we spoke about so much historically as being such a pivotal round because SSG win this one, they go 6-3. 3 rounds feels like a bit too much of an ask of a stretch for Black Dragons to be able to fight back in. Black Dragons win, they're 1 round within striking distance. This one for me is where this game is won or lost. That's really big from J90, picking up that first just to get things going. SSG are looking poised to get themselves into Geisha. We can hear the Selma charge has been applied, so they are looking for that verticality. They're looking to get themselves on in there and really rain down some bullets, rain down some discomfort onto the defenders inside of sight. There's still players up on the top floor that need to be shifted, but SSG are starting the process of doing that, and they're starting it well. At the minute, Florio is the big one on the Warden inside of Geisha. Ready and waiting. First smoke comes on through, and again, that's where you'd expect him to be winning out an early gunfight. The next kill will really settle it. I think, though, 5 versus 3 to SSG will feel like it's theirs for the taking. Black Dragon start balancing things back out, then it's a whole other conversation. We're only halfway into the round as well, it's worth stressing, Tim. It's not that the execute's happening now. Players are still getting in position for it. Forest needs to be careful. He knows that the verticals are going to be there onto the window. However, they can't do much about it, can they? Yes, they can. Horner, he manages to find Forest, but that puts the diffuser down cold inside of sight. This just got a lot more difficult. However, Ask will get downed. I think it was Ashen playing out on the bathroom window. He rotates himself around, maybe can't confirm the kill just yet. He is going to get caught in a goo mine, so they should know that he's pushed in, and this is good from SSG. I like that they're changing it up, and they're attacking from multiple angles. Takes down Hornet with a beautiful shot. 4v3 now. That pre-fire was amazing. It almost gets the second as well behind Sushi Bar, but almost sprayed from on high. Benji's going to get rid of Ask. A 4v2 for SSG. It feels like it's theirs for the taking, Tim. Yeah, I like what SSG are doing. They're just prodding from different sides and then dropping away. Ashen, he gets one from restaurant, then Benja comes in from delivery side. They don't know where they're going to be hit from next, but Florio, he stands up tall. He still has that vertical, manages to get one. Can he stop the plant though? I don't think he knows that it's going down. No. There's nothing that they can do about it. And now, even with top floor control, Black Dragons, they are in a difficult spot. It was more they had no idea where it was going down as well. No information on on site, no bulletproofs to help them out there. I mean, hacked away by the looks of it by the Bravo. You can see Forrest sat on it now as a dead player. That's the real stinger for them, that they couldn't make use of this utility designed to give them this information. Tucked in the back corner. Got to stage a retake quickly. Got about 10 seconds to make this work, Tim. I don't think they're going to get away with it.
No, I very much doubt it. That kill seals it for me. Benja manages to find one, flips to the secondary, picks up the second, and SSG get themselves onto map point. I said that round was going to be pivotal. I now look at it and I think, can Black Dragons, when they are backs to the wall, not just in this matchup, but in the whole major, lose this and they go home? Can they win 3 in a row here on Skyscraper, including one of the offsides? I think it's a very big ask given the way that SSG have just played that last round. It was so nice from them. They were kind of like a tide, washing in and out. Ashen pushes here and then washes back. Benja pushes in and washes back, and they just ground them down one after another.
It'll be interesting to see if they carry on with the same form we saw in the previous quarter, where they start out with the 2 top floor wins. It's then that downstairs that becomes the point of concern. As you say, SSG played that one so well, but a lot can happen in the space of 3 rounds. Could see a couple of car crash rounds from SSG, and Black Dragons become full of spirit again. But as I said back when we first started this half for SSG, that for me, they're a team that are able to play the slower or the more quicker style. They'll happily move between it and cause a little bit of chaos in enemy ranks. For me, that might be enough to see them get it done here in the next 3 and take that 2-0 and move on to our live stage finals on Friday.
It's been a long road for SSG, realistically. There's been some up and downs along the way, but I've got to say, I've found them an extremely entertaining team to watch, if nothing else, so far. The brand of siege that they're playing is exciting. They're willing to take risks. They're willing to try and create a bit of chaos within the map and get those early fights and play with aggression. They play with a lot of confidence. And I will enjoy seeing more from them should they make it through. Like I said, it certainly hasn't been easy for them, but great resilience has been shown along the way to get them to this point. Can they now get it over the line? They could be 2.5 minutes away from joining us, as you say, Des, for those live finals. It's Karaoke and Tea, and Black Dragons now, no more mistakes. They cannot lose another round, or they will be done. That's a good start. Florio, I think, just managing to bandit trick away some utility.
It's obviously a pretty tall order, being honest, to see them get to a point where they can pull this one back. If they do, let's send them with a shout of making SI Black Dragons. They'd have to make a pretty deep run, not just get out at this stage, I don't believe. They'd have to go further than that. SSG are already qualified for SI, so it's not a concern for them regardless of the outcome of this game. But obviously they definitely want a live stage game. Not quite on home soil, but very, very close to it here in Canada. I love the comp they've got here again. It's the sort of thing SSG are really cool at, to bring out these set plays, especially utilising Capitao. It's a big part of their wheelhouse. You've got the Glaz on side as well, the Monster, the Deimos that we always speak about. 4 operators there that if Black Dragons aren't careful, they'll just get run over by.
We've seen a lot of attempts over the course of this map to get Monty into the top of Black Stairs and make a push there, where you better believe that they're double droning them stairs and making sure that the smoke isn't there to pop up behind them. This time it's going to be the Echo trying to deal with the Monty, but there's nobody there to really support it and find those shots when the shield break is coming on him. But for the time being, at least, it's preventing him from pushing forward. But honestly, I think SSG might just have the space now to make this work.
Shokos could be cheeky, but there's still so much time to play with that. I don't think they're really going to have a long-lasting effect to be able to stop this going on down. So it comes on through to delay at least a little bit more time. Any C4s to play behind, just the one in the back pocket here of Florio. So I think we're going to have to see Black Dragons be a bit more proactive in this and actually do something about it, because I think otherwise SSG have got enough time to play with.
Yeah, it is that exactly that. It's a matter of time until Forrest can get in and start putting this diffuser down. If he's got his shield on his back, it's going to be very difficult for Guto to do anything about it. He's kind of holding a long angle from gold bars to try and watch through and stop it going down, but it's going to be almost impossible. Glaz manages to find one. The plant will be successful. There's nothing Black Dragons can do. It's all about the post plant. 3 versus 2, and Hornet, he dives straight on it. I'm not sure they can do anything about this. He's going to stick it in, and he does successfully keep Black Dragons in it for one more round. Smart play from Hornet.
The immediate reaction in that situation is going to be try and look for kills. Okay, we've got a couple. Can we find any more? But I love the composure from Hornet. Straight to that diffuser on the disable and not giving any room to the other side to fight their way back in. That's the kind of stuff that experience is going to give to you, I think. And SSG, that's one of those 3 rounds that they can afford to lose here. Well, one of 2, really. You don't want overtime to come through. Otherwise, Black Dragons are going to start on the defense. And given 2 defenses is all they need, I think we know how those would probably go down, Tim.
One more round. That's all Black Dragons are going to be thinking. One more, and then we worry about the next one. You've just got the feeling straight away it's going to come down to that 3rd choice site. You've just got the feeling that Black Dragons are going to hold on to Exhibition Office as well. Smart play from Hornet. Look at this, J9O was a fraction away as well. Repels him from the window. You had the Deimos underneath, but just nothing that SSG could do to stop him. And it was because Hornet had acted so quickly, straight onto it. Sometimes, I spoke about it for the Chiefs game earlier against Virtus Pro, a lack of decisiveness, a lack of confidence to just say, this is the approach, this is it, this is what we're doing, and I'm gonna stick it. Really well played from Hornet. Black Dragons, great retake on the plant, and they find themselves in round 11.
Can they keep holding on? Exhibition Office, where we head to. See how things shape up. No craziness coming out from SSG in terms of their attack. It looks a little bit more standard siege, a bit more bread and butter. Nothing really too easy to deal with the mirrors. The one thing I'm slightly kind of like aware of here, of course, unless the book can get below and their mirror windows are exposed, then in which case, yeah, that's completely fine. But no Ash, for example, the Sophia, instead of they're leaning in towards here. Probably more to deny, as you'd expect, this wall from being bandit tricked away by Nux, and that has already been done without the Sophia even having to get involved.
Yeah, really quick progress, and it's really good for SSG. It now makes it very difficult for any of the defenders to play inside of VIP, pretty much impossible, but also playing around Dragon and those areas. They need to be very careful. J9O manages to pick up Ask as well. That takes the Valkyrie down. Nitro goes off the board along with them. 5 versus 4. SSG, this could be your moment.
Out of survive inside 45 seconds, they've realised, okay, there's a player below, got a C4 in back pocket, we're going to pinch him, and they had 2 players ready to take that fight. That's backs away from the fight with J9O. Benja's there ready and waiting as well. Again, really good team play coming out of SSG, even 45 seconds into the round.
SSG have got themselves inside of Geisha as well, so we've got pressure mounting on both sides. J9O on the Zephyr is still off by Exhibition and Office, still playing around Sword's window and making things difficult for them, whilst the rest of his team are going to start working over from this side, trying to take Drum, Shrine, move across, just the land grab an inch at a time and force them back. But the player inside of Shrine is in a tough spot here. They're going to be very cautious. It's Hornet who needs to be careful about moving back through VIP to try and get himself back to site, because that wall's been open and maybe being watched. He doesn't know that.
Time slowly ticking away from them, though. Got to start making your moves at some point soon. The more wiggle room you give over to these Black Dragons players, the more they're going to punish you for it. Mirror window being gone is one of those key things I was looking to see taken down because of that. And Ash on side, they do become quite a threat. One at least has been found. I'm not quite sure about the second. And the amount of utility still in SSG's back pockets is telling they've got everything to pull off a really good execute here.
So J9O's moved himself onto the repellers, you can see there ahead of you, that looks in through VIP, but Hornet had already escaped from Shrine. However, he's moved too much, he's given himself away. He was tucked on house stairs, but he's exposed himself, and J9O was waiting to pounce. And here come SSG rolling through like a runaway train, Des. They roll right over the top of Black Dragons for a flawless round and take themselves through to the live venue games of the Montreal Major.
And so well deserved too. Border was extremely tight and they definitely capitalised on a poor couple of rounds from Black Dragons. But I think it's fair to say, Tim, far from the poorest team here on Skyscraper. Played it incredibly well, and for me, it was the trade play, the team play, that really shone through and made a difference on the day.
Look, let's not forget for Black Dragons, they are a team that got 1 point in Stage 2. They've turned up, they've given a great account of themselves here at the Major, and in that game as well. I was still believing that that could go to overtime potentially, Des. But SSG, they have again shown great resilience to get it done when they need to, and to put themselves through to the big games, into the quarterfinals. And honestly, I'm not going to go as far as to